Hey, I'm Brody Brazil, and welcome to Teal Town After Dark.
Thanks so much, Brody. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the return, I guess you could say, of Teal Town After Dark, following a crazy third period that had many chances, but nonetheless, Sharks win 3-2 over the Desert Dogs. Oh, excuse me. I'm going with milk tonight. Forgive me, folks. All right. Good to see you. It's been nearly 2 weeks since we've done a Sharks post game. So just to reiterate for all those joining us for the first time or in quite some time, to be a part of the show, there's multiple ways that you can interact with us, chat with us and fellow Sharks fans in the YouTube chat, on the page, or the app. Make sure you're getting home safely tonight if you're coming home from the tank. It is a little rainy out there, so the roads are slick. But always, you can also use the Twitter machine hashtag or add us at TealTownUSA. But do yourself a favor, just log on to all your social media and follow us there, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, SoundCloud, or the YouTube channel. We want to thank the over 1,150 subscribers that have already jumped on to the Teal Town YouTube channel. So good evening, everyone. Hope you had a nice all-star bye week off already. So let's hit up the chat early on and see what we got to see right now. Well, Las Vegas has now lost 4 in a row. We'll get back that into the wraparound in just a jiffy. Avs should make a run at Simmons. Simmons is going to be a hot commodity, I think, in a few weeks. So be on the lookout for that. Avs need to be buyers. I'm surprised by that, especially how crazy of a start they got off to. Burns, remember that he played forward at one point from just another Andy G. Bearded Sharks guy 661. That was an awesome game. Glad to be back here, boys and girls. So are we. It's been a while, so good to see you. All right. So nonetheless, let's get at it and grip it and rip it. Not too much going on in the first period. No scoring. You did have some penalties here and there. Dilly with the slash at 3:53. He took that, and of course the Desert Dogs didn't capitalize on that power play. Arizona would take 2 penalties later in the period at 7:30. Lyubushkin would hold up Pavelski. That didn't materialize anything. In 1955, Ekman Larson. No, he didn't elbow LeBanc like he did, I think, the last time the Sharks took on the Coyotes in San Jose. But he did interfere on Pavs. So Pavs pulling off 2 penalties in the first period. So, way to keep doing whatever it is you're doing. So those 2 penalties there, Sharks wouldn't completely capitalize on that. But after the first period of play, it was 10-8 in favor of shots in favor of San Jose in this. The Sharks really did pretty good in the faceoff circle, almost 60% after 1 period of play there. Moving on to the second period, the Sharks would have that penalty late in the first, carry over into the second. Just nothing there. They had some good chances. You give them that. Arizona is one of the best penalty killing teams in the league, and definitely one of the best shorthanded threats in the league as well. It didn't materialize on any of that, though. However, at 9:56, nearly halfway through this game, Garland, his 10th of the season, he'd had the puck stolen off of his stick, led to Garland walking in unassisted. 1-0 Sharks. Really tough goal for Jones because it was a quick steal and a bang in from the other side, I thought. So Connor Garland gets his 10th to make it 1-0 Desert Dogs. All right. And then things started to heat up a little bit. Kevin LeBanc bangs home and deposits the puck into LeBanc. his 6th of the season from Thornton and Burns. Originally credited Burns and Sorensen, but Thornton gets credited for that, and it gets tied at 1-1. LeBanc getting the move up, trying to get his offense going with according to Peter DeBoer after the the morning skate. So Sleepy Mofo not liking how this patch sticks up. Yes, it's called Gorilla Tape, and it's getting sewn hopefully sometime in the next week or two. So Alex, go for it. The link is in our chat. AJ is on assignment tonight, so he he had a good time at the Barracuda game, I know for sure. And we'll go over that haul in just jiffy. So let's see here. What else we got in the chat? Wait, how many backups have the Sharks traded over the years? They've definitely traded a lot of goaltenders over the years. So no, Sleepy Mofo. Sorry, Puck. I thought that's how they were selling. No, they didn't come with patches. So I put it on myself. Used some nice little what is it? The Gorilla Tape was supposed to be stronger than the duct tape, so that's where it was going on. Yeah, so much sloppiness on that ice. Mind you, they changed the ice within a few days. I recall seeing, I think Johnny Root was still skating on um on on All-Star ice. So they shaved it off, put the new lines back on. The Shark logo seems a little bit smaller this time around. So I don't know if that's the case, but Aiden DeLoe, thank you very much. I think that's the first time I've seen your name in there. So thank you for watching. We have to be on our A game Tuesday against Winnipeg. Oh, absolutely. We'll get onto that when we do the wraparound. What Winnipeg did tonight, folks. So now, Rob, my fiance would have that patch. It's a sewing machine. Well, if she lives nearby and you know where I live, we'll be talking. Sleepy Mofo, I thought EK65 started playing his best game of the season against Jets. He did. I thought, he had that time to gel up and everything, and just didn't seem like it was going to happen. Of course, Erik Karlsson not playing tonight. Apparently, he's going to be making the road trip, but it's uncertain as to when he will make the his return back. To answer Aiden DeLoe's question, will return Tuesday? Maybe. The penalties come on. The too many men on the ice. That's just rare by the Sharks. You know what, Zach? The funny thing is I think, and AJ mentioned this early on the season, I think in a couple of episodes of the Technologists, how they were having all these weird penalties early in the season, whether it was too many men or as our good friend from NBC Sports, Shalana Goldman says, hella dudes on the penalty kill, or hella dudes on the frozen pond. But they had a lot of those. They had a lot of the puck over glass penalties. So really interesting there. To get back into the recap of the second period, so Garland made it 1-0 for the Desert Dogs. LeBanc made it 1-1. Just 44 seconds later, Joe Pavelski would pick up the rebound from a Meyer breakaway to get his 28th of the season. Meyer would get the assist on it. Did he give him the second one? Because I thought Couture jumped in on there. Yes, Meyer and Couture at 12:53 for Pavs. For Pavs, his 28th of the season gave the Sharks a 2-1 lead over the Desert Dogs. Oh, sorry. And that would be all the scoring that would happen in the second period. However, the Sharks had a parade to the penalty box. My goodness. But first, before them, just 20 seconds after Habs made it 2-1, Richard Panik thought he scored on the breakaway. However, they originally called no goal because they thought the net was off its moorings. It wouldn't have counted. They reviewed it. They said, yes, it was a goal. The puck it's got in without the net coming off its moorings. However, Peter Bohr immediately challenged it. Definitely looked like there's some goaltender interference. It looked like there was a shot to the head too for on Martin Jones by Ponick. Nonetheless, the goal gets waved off. They call goaltender interference, no goal. So we play on 13-13 in Sharks still up 2-1. Then the parade to the penalty box begins. 15-16, he gets called for holding. 18-47, Braun gets called for holding. The clutching and grabbing went away a long time ago, boys. Let's get that going. Let's take care of it, all right? I mean, come on. Um, got to get that together. Thankfully, that the Coyotes didn't do, anything pretty good there. So, joining me now, my good friend and our goaltending consultant, Mr. Alex Martinet.
How you doing, Buckeye?
Good. How are you, Alex? Thanks for jumping on.
Not a problem.
So after 40 minutes, as I just finished off, they had those two quick goals, but then they started to parade to the penalty box for the Sharks. What did you take from it?
Arizona had 4 penalties or 4 penalty power plays. They didn't do much with them at all. And up to that point, it was 2-1. I thought the Sharks did a really good job. It was a lot closer game than I think people expected coming in. Yep. This was the first game after the All-Star game. 10 games off or 10 days off. So a little bit rusty, especially the first period. But I really competitive game, unlike the Winnipeg and Anaheim game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I kind of expected them to have a little bit of rest going into tonight, even though they had practice for the first time. I think first time was yesterday after the All-Star break.
Yeah, that's when we started to hear that the last week was going to come back, which is his first game in almost a month.
Yeah, the Colorado game was when he got hurt.
Yeah. So Karlsson's still not back. They haven't really said when he's going to come back, but I'm assuming. So, gonna be kind of interesting what's going to happen with Karlsson.
Yeah, it should be. And the thing is to take it easy for that matter. So, I mean, even DeBoer said if they needed to, he would have played, but it wasn't a playoff game, so he didn't. So that I'm totally fine with, and nothing, nothing serious. We hope so.
It's only really a story if he misses a couple more games, but since the injury happened before the Capitals game, or that's what his first game was, one of the two. Let's hope it's not a big thing.
Yeah, and he showed some gingerly play. I think in the Arizona game before the break, at the beginning of that one road trip, and guess what, folks? They're going on another road trip again. But
on the road again.
I know, right? I think Randy said tonight on the telecast, 4 of the next 12 games are at the tank. So yeah, that's not fun, but it's going to be quite an interesting road trip. But we'll touch on that a little later in the program. But let's get back to the third period here. 146. Burns takes a high stick to Archibald, which is interesting. The way he went down and the way that Burnsy was going after the puck and made contact with the head, I thought, if he's bleeding, Burnsy's in trouble.
Yeah.
So, and then 307, our good friend Shalana Goldman would say, "Hella dudes on the frozen pond." Kane jumped on a little early. Couture was coming off the ice. Kane was hoping for a breakaway, but then, there's one of those penalties where they should be getting they should be better about things. So
Yeah, I thought it was better, but um, Phoenix does have the number one power penalty kill in the league, so uh, that's kind of hard to for. That's easy to forget considering the reputation surrounding Phoenix or Arizona. Desert Dogs, one of the two or one of the three.
excuse me.
Drinks up.
Thank you.
So, I thought they moved the puck well against Phoenix. That's all you were really ask for. A lot of great opportunities. Um, at least it wasn't as bad as I don't know, the Ottawa that whole road trip.
Yeah.
We'll go back to that low point.
Yep. So 307, we get the too many men. 348, Burns comes out of the penalty box and gets denied on the breakaway, but the Sharks had probably their best chances were on the Arizona power play. I think Hurdle had a chance. Hurdle passed it over to Pavs. It just rolled off his stick.
Yeah.
And they looked really solid on that PK. And 0 for 5 for the Arizona Coyotes power play tonight. So for the penalty killers who had a rough January, that was a nice game to have tonight.
Yes. There was the Capitals game, and there was I think the Sharks did have some momentum, and it was pretty good for them to stay, at least for the team. Those who were in the Bay Area or the All Star game, I think most of the players are actually away in Miami, especially Kane. So
It seemed like half the team went to Maui, which is
yeah,
pretty nice.
I saw a couple of people go to Hawaii.
Yep.
So it seemed like Vlasic. There was a Kevin Kerr's article about his problems not just being injury related, more or less something other going on. So I wonder if that's getting situated, it's resolved. Um, at least that's being discussed more uh, as the reasons why he's not been playing well this season.
Yeah, I mean, one of those craziness. And speaking of craziness, um, Arizona has 2 goalposts at the in the final half period. I mean, crazy chaos. Players were flying, laying on the ice. Puck bounced. Because you can say to blame it on the Barracuda, but let's be real here. It is new ice too, so you know
Yeah.
we'll see about that. But
I thought Arizona did a really good job in the third period. I think they won the third period. They played the Sharks in most areas, but the real big highlight of the game was the Jones save when it was 2-2.
yep,
Um,
Cousins still shaking his head. I mean
um,
that was a great save, and you know give credit to Archibald, especially in the third period. He was coming with fire. He got his 5th of the season to tie that game, and then he also had, I think, at least one of those pucks that went off the post. So
uh, they're going to be an interesting team next season. Team's getting more experienced. The team has a lot of potential, but like I'm not too sure if they're still playoff contenders.
it's tough because considering the how the wild card is right now, I mean, they're not completely out of it, but they're gonna have to figure out what they're going to do. Are they a buyer? Are they a seller at the deadline for the Desert Dogs? I
Yeah,
mean,
they're gonna have to hit free agency. Find a better goaltender, find some defenseman, something to build around. But they're still a year from being a year away from contending. Not just
yeah,
contending, but being in the playoff position.
right. Yeah. So both teams get a point. This thing goes into overtime, and then Burns with a beauty of a move to get by the defender, then get by Kemper. He buries it home for the game-winning goal. That's his 10th of the season from Hurdle at 3:14. That gives the Sharks the win 3-2 over the Coyotes. Sharks now, with the win, go to 67 points. They open up a 5-point lead on Vegas. With the win, back-to-back wins in overtime too. So kudos on that. Overall, the totals 35-33 in favor of San Jose in the shot category. Sharks first originally were dominating the face-off circle. It got a little even as the game progressed, 55-45. Both teams went over on the power play, although like we said, the Sharks definitely got the chances on one of the Coyotes power plays for you. 10-4 for the penalties. Hits were even 26-24 in favor of San Jose. The Coyotes had 6 more shot blocks than the Sharks, and the Sharks had 3 more giveaways than the Coyotes on this night.
What did you think of the Kane, I guess, penalty? Too many men on the ice. Which
It's
again, LeBanc served because he's LeBanc.
not right. It like Age he said on the Technologist last night. It's almost replaced Sandstorm as it's a Sharks hockey game now.
Yeah.
I found that ironic. That he did that, but at the same time, Couture. It's tough to say who you would blame on that. Do you blame it on Couture for kind of gliding to the bench, or do you blame the antsiness of Kane on the breakaway? To me, I think it's both because it happened.
I think Kane was in the right position. I think Couture's games has been kind of slipping lately. So I don't know if there's something going on with him, but um, I do blame a lot of that on Couture not skating, not to the bench.
Yeah. Dave B, hello to you, sir. Good to see you. Um, great win tonight coming back from the break. Yep. I completely agree. The Coyotes are sitting just 3 points out of a playoff spot, folks. That's a craziness to it. Nick Neftepitz, I really wish the NHL would switch games to a 3-point to a game
Yes.
winner, 2 for OT shootout, and a point for the OT shootout loss.
That's something
Yeah.
I wish they would put into effect, but I think they want more and more markets competing for those final 8 spots. So
Right. In when we go to the wraparound, we'll show you the standings, and you're going to see how crazy this playoff race will be in the Western Conference. Let's see. Felix Chow. Felix, good evening to you, sir. If you haven't checked out Felix's content on the website at tealtownusa.com, do so after the show, of course. I saw someone say on my timeline tonight that the Sharks should take a run at OEL, perhaps send a message from the earlier controversial hit on LeBanc. But I mean, the scoreboard is where it matters. Yes, as much as they want to take shots at OEL, first off, tonight was the last match of the season unless they do meet in the playoffs, so that's probably not going to happen. And honestly, I think now that time has passed, we had 2 games since. If they were going to make a message, they would have sent it already. So, but like you said, Alex, Sleepy Mofo saying Desert Dogs and Canucks next season or 2, watch out.
yeah, I mean, if you have to expect that Minnesota is going to take a turn. LA Kings are probably not going to rebuild that fast. The Ducks are probably going to go through a rebuild. So there's going to be a little bit of a shift in terms about who's coming up in the West. So it wouldn't surprise me if you see Colorado, Vancouver, Arizona. Those are like the big 3 that I'm seeing what happens next year.
Yeah, I mean, the big boys up in the Pacific right now are going to be watching their backs a little bit more as time goes on. next season for sure. This season also, I mean, let's be real here. It's getting quite interesting in the West. Sleepy Mofo blames Kane for not watching Couture to completely get back to the bench. Marty T, professional hockey players should hustle back to the bench on the change. No excuses.
Yeah.
So, and Sleepy Mofo did say, but Couture, I wouldn't mind blaming him too. So, yeah, the nonchalant escape back to the bench. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to see. But Phantom makes a good point with the current system. Now those loser points are how Arizona and Florida stay in it in general. They seem to rack those points up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think it's more or less to keep big markets in the playoff hunt. I mean, for a while, Anaheim was still in it, but they were never really a force. Yeah.
yeah.
You want to do the
So
standings?
yep, I think it's time. You know why? Because it's been a while since we've had one of these. Um so let's hit it. Maybe. I don't know. It might happen.
Have the goddamn common courtesy to give him a reach around.
Again, it's wrap around, not reach around. You don't wrap around a shot on goal to the net. I know how we keep going through this and stuff. So
I'll go with the AP style and just say reach around.
whatever. All right, let's get at. There were plenty of games in the NHL tonight, starting with Flyers 5, Oilers 4 in overtime. Nolan Patrick with his 10th gets the game-winning goal in overtime, 2:01 in. Claude Giroux and Wayne Simmons, who's a hot button target for the trade deadline, they each got their 16th goal on the power play. Connor McJesus hits the 30-goal mark, still not enough as the Oilers go down to the Flyers. In Montreal, the Devils win 3-2 in overtime over the Canadiens. Nico Hischier gets his 16th. He got 2 goals on the night, including the game-winning goal just under 2 minutes into overtime at Bell Center. In Winnipeg, the game that we've been kind of teasing about, Jets 9, Ducks 3. Apparently, the trend for John Gibson allowing about a half a dozen goals in a period didn't stop at the All-Star game. He allows 6 goals in the first period. Kopp, Roslovic, Wheeler, Little, Roslovic again, Lemieux, all scored goals for the Jets. Roslovic gets a hat trick tonight. Brian Little, 2 goals. Patrick Laine, where have you gone? All this offense from the Jets, and you only had an assist tonight. Oh my.
Interesting.
It's quite interesting. And the Ducks, they get Corey Perry back tonight, but it didn't do much as the Ducks lose 9-3. In Toronto, the Leafs win. That's right. You can hear Steve Dangle fist pumping and giving out victory puppy snacks to his dogs as we speak. Austin Matthews, excuse me, I'm sorry. San Ramon native Austin Matthews with his 23rd. Tyler Dermott his 4th. Zach Hyman his 9th were the goals for the Leafs. Crosby gets his 23rd of the season. Leger gets his 2nd. The Leafs win. They are now at 65 points. In Ottawa, the Senators were shut out by the Detroit Red Wings 2-0 by Jonathan Bernier. Danny DeKeyser and Darren Helm with the game-winning goals for the Wings in that one. The Knights have lost 4 in a row. This one coming at the hands of the Florida Panthers. The Panthers win 3-1 over the Golden Knights. Pat Chiaretti with the only goal for the Knights. Barkov, Hoffman, and Vetrano with the goals for Florida. On Long Island, Islanders 4, Kings 2. Matthew Barzal with his 15th. Matt Dalcale with the game-winning goal in this with his second. Kovalchuk gets his 10th. Kopitar gets his first. Or I'm sorry, first 15th. I'm awake. I swear to you. For the Kings in the losing effort. The Battle of the Blues. The Blue Jackets lose to the Blues 4-2. Ryan O'Reilly, his 19th of the season. Tarasenko, his 18th. As the Blues are at 51 points on the campaign. In Nashville, 3-1 the final as the Stars beat the Predators on Nashville's home ice. Sagan gets his 21st of the season. Khudobin did not push them off the moorings intentionally, but gets the victory nonetheless. In Minnesota, the Blackhawks win in overtime 4-3 over the Minnesota Wild. Alex Stalock loses in this one. Gustafsson for Chicago gets the game-winning goal a minute 19 into overtime. A lot of overtimes tonight in this one.
How many games were tonight?
Oh gosh, there were a lot.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 games.
9 games. It seemed like a lot more.
No, 10, 11, 12.
12? Yeah. I was gonna say it seemed like there were like almost everybody was in action. Speaking of in action, the Lightning continue in action. They hit the 80-point mark, folks, with a 3-2 win over the New York Rangers. Stamkos gets his 28th. That turns out to be the game-winning goal in the second period. Lundqvist takes the loss. Matt Zuccarello, another target at the trade deadline, gets his 9th. Hayes his 11th. In Colorado, the Vancouver Canucks win 5-1 over the Colorado Avalanche. Nikolai Goldobin with his 6th of the season, a power play goal, mind you. He gets things. And for Rocket, this is for you, Vertanen. Got the things going early on, a minute 32 in with his 12th. And Alex, since you have the standings up, as the Vancouver Canucks now are in a playoff spot. That's right.
Don't burn down the 10, Vancouver.
Yes, Vancouver at 54. Let's take a look at those Western Conference standings now, because we are down to the nitty-gritty with the playoff race. In the Central, Winnipeg at 70, Nashville 66, Dallas at 58. In the Pacific, you have Calgary at 71, San Jose 67, Vegas at 62. They've lost 4 in a row there. The wild card is Minnesota at 56, Vancouver at 54. But just scroll down a little bit more there, Alex. Take a look at the wild card race, folks. Vancouver holding down the second spot at 54. Then you have Colorado at 52, St. Louis at 51, Arizona at 51, Anaheim at 51, Edmonton at 50. And sure, let's throw in the Blackhawks at 49. I mean, there are 6 teams that are within 5 points of the last wild card spot in the West, Alex. That's crazy.
Yeah. So far, Vancouver, Minnesota, Vegas, San Jose, Calgary, and then Dallas, Nashville, Winnipeg. Out of those 8, who do you think is going to be knocked out?
Ooh, it's tough. I like Colorado if they could get their act together. But it's up in the air, man. I mean, Colorado can be in there. St. Louis can sneak in. Vancouver, it's one of those teams that are on the rise, like Arizona. Arizona can sneak in. If they can find a way with decent goaltending, I think they could get in there. So Interesting to see.
I see the wild card being a 3-team race between Minnesota. I think Vancouver is going to be a lock. So Minnesota, Colorado, and Arizona. I don't think St. Louis is going to make much of a push, but they've done that in the past.
Definitely. In the chat, if the Avs are buyers, maybe the Sens can dangle Mark Stone and get their first round pick back. Yes, that's right.
Trade anything to Ottawa and you get better returns.
Right. Yeah, it's going to be quite interesting to see what goes on, and especially in the Ottawa sense, who are they going to get in return? So it's
You got an owner who wants to move the team and or doesn't know what he wants to do every 2 weeks. I
right.
feel bad for Ottawa Center fans.
It's tough to say. So, it'll be interesting to see what goes on in down the road with it, because man, it's gonna be a good race, and not just for that wild card race, but you the Pacific race. With the Sharks win tonight, they pull within 4 points of Calgary. Now they go on a big road trip and hit up pretty much the entire Western Canadian team starting Tuesday night in Winnipeg. And after what Winnipeg did, I don't want to say there's shakiness going on, but definitely message sent, message delivered for the Sharks coming up. So
I don't think much is going to happen. I think it's been already 2 weeks, almost 3 weeks at this point. But it will be interesting. Both these teams are at this point locks to make the playoffs. So I don't think anyone's going to be stupid.
right, and to be smart and everything. And here's the thing: when we talk about Erik Karlsson, with the Sharks in good shape right now, they can afford to have him sit for a bit to get fully healthy, because they don't want to have this thing linger on and kind of risk things down the road too.
Yeah, that's one of the big things that's coming up this offseason.
So
Right.
let's see. Christine Dominguez. Hey, Puck, I should have went to the game tonight. Would have been nice to see LeBanc score next. Hey, Christine. Thank you. Yeah, I didn't go myself tonight, but oh well, it is what it is. Hi, Puck Mom. I love Tierney, but I hope the Sens tank badly.
Oh, Tierney.
Oh,
Hopefully gets traded this trade deadline, but
at this rate, he could see he could be the number one center by the trade deadline for the Sens.
I thought he was already the number one center.
Oh, that's true. He could be already, but moving onward, a quick check-in. That's right, it's your Barracuda recap. Earlier today, the Barracuda played as the Kentucky Thoroughblades, the Sharks minor league affiliate from 96 to 2001. Had a wealth of alumni there with Mark Smith, Dan Boyle, Evgeny Nabokov, and Johan Hedberg. If you haven't checked out the Teal Town Instagram, AJ put up the autograph haul that he got at the game this afternoon. Really good stuff, and really nice for that matter. And speaking of nice, the Barracuda scored 2 in the third period to win 4-2 over the Stockton Heat. Kyle Wood got his 4th goal of the season at the buzzer at the end of the first period from Fitzgerald and Suomela. Suomela had 2 assists on the day, including Jonathan Martin's empty netted goal, Calvin Fitzgerald's game-winning goal at 7:23 of the third period from Dylan Gambrell. These Barracuda guys, they're doing pretty good, and they had a little bit of a hiccup, I would think, around December and January, but now they're starting to come together, and it can only make it more tougher on those who are on shaky ground on the Sharks roster.
Yeah, I could say that, but I think the Sharks are if they're going to look for someone in the free agency or trade deadline, it's someone with veteran experience, just like PDB always wants. So, I love the Barracuda, but I don't think there was ever a person that you would think would be brought up for playoff seasoning.
Yeah, I completely agree there. So the Barracuda go to 58 points. Their 725 save or points percentage is the best in the Pacific, and their points percentage is the best in the league. So kudos to the Barracuda. Go check them out. Seriously, I think their next game is on Tuesday night. I'm trying to remember who they're playing on Tuesday night. Why can't I think of it right now? And don't forget, February 18th is they have their Orange You Glad, their orange jersey giveaway there too. They play on Tuesday night. That's February 5th against the Iowa Wild. That's a 7 p.m. start. So the Sharks might be going away for a bit, but the Barracuda still have some home games coming on. So check that out at sjbarracuda.com. So let's check the chat out. If you got anything for us, we'll fire it away before we give it a wrap. But Alex, I know you helped me out on a couple of the All-Star shows, but how did you enjoy your break?
Pretty good. It's kind of not busy, which was kind of refreshing. I didn't really think about hockey. Didn't really do much. So kind of nice not just to unplug for a couple of days and then jump back in on Saturday.
Yes.
How about you?
Took it easy. Been busy with work and such. Tomorrow's Super Bowl, and for the produce department, that means it's a ton of stuff going in and out. So, yeah, it'll be interesting there. Puck Mom, one day I'll come on with my opinion. Has to be cleared by Teal Town USA staff. Yeah, or she'll just barge in on the door and say who really sucks in her mind. So, Rob Iman, I think Hornash will be with the Sharks in 2020. That'll be interesting to see what's going to go on with the trade deadline.
What's gonna go on with the trade deadline? That time of the year.
Yep.
I don't think much is gonna happen. I think players like Wade Simmons are going to be way overpriced for the Sharks. I just don't think you ruin the chemistry to bring someone in like that. I don't think you want another Brett Girl or say that Garen situation.
Yeah, and that one really backfired on them.
He was decent in the regular season, but got hurt in the playoffs. So I don't think this is the time to bring in someone, especially when I think this is probably going to be their best chance for quite a while to make a run. Next year is going to be really interesting what happens with the Sharks in terms of the contracts. Carlson, 9-10 million for him. I don't think much is going to happen.
Felsky, Thornton, Donskoy. You also got to figure out Timo Meyer, who's a restricted free agent.
He's going to get paid.
Yeah. But then you have, and Felix mentioning, Sasa Shimolovsky. He had a great World Juniors and been lighting it up in the OHL. So should be interesting.
I will say this though, that if the Sharks do get a trade rental, I think it signals to them that they don't think Carlson's going to come back next year. And if something happens, if they get a big piece like Wayne Simmons, I don't know.
And remember the clause: it's an automatic first-round pick that goes to Ottawa if the Sharks trade Carlson to an Eastern Conference team. So
I thought that was part of the original trade. I thought that was you can't trade him to the East; you can only trade him to the West.
Right.
Yeah.
So that should be interesting. So. All right. Well, in case you missed this or you want to watch this again, check us out on tealtownusa.com or your favorite podcatcher, whether it's iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio. Of course, smash that subscribe button to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to ring that bell to get notified when we do go on and you get info and updates on when we go on either doing After Dark or checking out our weekly wrap up, The Pucknologist, who dropped episode number 63 last night, recapping All-Star Weekend with AJ Rocket and Hockey Jerk. Check that out. They share their experience with the All-Star game and the fanfare. As for me, the All-Star game was a blast, with the exception of John Gibson allowing 7 goals on 9 shots. But I digress, because that was only an exhibition game. That was not like tonight against... Oh, my bad.
At least I thought that, I mean, I can't blame Gibson because they only have one player on ice. I mean, he's the only one that's skating. He's doing the scoring. He's doing the saves.
Yeah, I feel for them and the Ducks. Yeah, but yet they're only 3 points out of a playoff spot, so they get on a good run. Watch out. So
anything can happen. But I think the way the Sharks are positioned, the way things are positioned, I think the solid 3 right now, Calgary, Sharks, and Vegas, I think that's what it's going to shape out to be.
Yeah. Dave B mentioning to us a rental has no bearing on EK65 coming back. Rental as salary will drop off the books before the salary kicks in. That is true. But it'd be interesting to see what they want to do at the deadline, and maybe does that involve EK before he goes? Like, if they know that they're not going to get to it, but it is what it is. We will see before February 25th as to trade. I'm not getting into the fanatics thing. I said what I said about my shirt, and that was it. However, AJ did go off on his latest post, so check that out on tealtownusa.com. First on for me. What? Hey, I'm tired. I'm exhausted. It's been a crazy week. Trying to get back to a sleeping pattern. Now we're after the All-Star break, so it is what it is, which means we should probably get out of here so I don't have yawn number 2 happen on the air. So, Alex, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you very much. Tell us where the people can find you on the social and your final thoughts.
You can find me at Al Martinet. I'm free to chat about basically anything hockey related, or even the Super Bowl if you want to talk about that. Go Rams. I don't want the Patriots. Anyone but the Patriots at this point.
I agree.
But overall, not a bad first game after the All-Star. But I do think the first real game is going to be against Calgary. Should be interesting to see what happens afterwards.
Yep. Winnipeg's going to be a big test. Calgary's going to be a big test. Edmonton, Vancouver can be a trap game. So be on the lookout for that one for sure. As we get down into interesting times here as the season gets down to the end of it. So never so Calgo Pats. So do I ask for a prediction for tomorrow's Super Bowl?
I mean, I've already said I want the Rams to win. And I can't stand LA. So anyone but the Patriots at this point.
I just wish there's something wrong with the field. The field conditions are horrible. They have to cancel the Super Bowl. Each team gets to share the trophy, and they get that half victory, and like, whatever. Okay, move along.
I'll go 28-24 Rams.
28-24 Rams. That's probably what I would have picked, but I'd probably say sadly the Patriots will win. Let's put it this way: I'd rather the Rams win, even though they're LA. Oh God. But I don't want
You can call them the St. Louis Rams. How about that?
That'd be great. And then we'll also call Tom Brady another 4-time Super Bowl loser too, for the supposed greatest of all time. Yeah, still waiting for him to throw a game-winning touchdown in the Super Bowl. So, just putting that out there. So, with that, thank you, Alex, for joining. Thank you, everybody in the chat. We will be back with you Tuesday night following the Sharks and the Jets for another edition of Teal Town After Dark. And until then, thank you for watching and keep it real, keep it teal, keep it real teal. Thanks and have a great night.